Hi guys, it's Paula from PSC Creations. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. Today's video is another flip through. I made two Lion King journals using VHS covers. They have both sold. They recently sold on my recent Whatnot show that I had. Link to my Whatnot in the description below if you're interested, as well as a referral link. If you sign up, you get $10 credit to use on any Whatnot show you'd like. And it's free to sign up. So anyways, I just wanted to do a flip through. I like doing flip throughs of my journals before I pack them up and ship them out. So let's go ahead and do that. They're going to go quickly. I'll go through a little bit more detail on one and then a little quicker on the second one, because for the most part, they're the same with the exception of obviously all the ephemera and everything, that I added to it that's unique because I used other Lion King books for pages and for to fussy cut images and so on and so forth. So let's go through the first one. This one is it's just plain card A. That's how I had it on my show so that people knew the difference. Again, few differences. The tie is removable, and it's just a piece of fiber from one of those rugs that you can take apart. I bought it years ago, and I'm slowly but surely using all the little pieces that are part of it. I thought it went well. It's detachable, so obviously if the person who purchased it doesn't like it, they can replace it. It's two signatures sewn in 3 pamphlet stitch, and again I used the VHS cover. So it's the VHS cover, then there is a layer of manila folder, and then for both of these actually I used felt. So there's felt on the inside as well. And the color of felt is different. This one is a darker green felt, and the other one is a slightly lighter green felt. This one has a beige. Is this one beige or is this white? No, this is beige. A beige vintage lace that covers the entire front and back page of the journal, and that gives you 2 pockets. So this was a master board that I took, and I just added an image that I fussy cut from one of the books of Pumbaa, and then I backed it with some tea-dyed paper. Now, my sewing machine did something funky, and it only did it twice. And I kept it because to me, well, I didn't want to lose, right, this, because I had already, I guess I could cut him out and, add him to another. But I thought that it looked okay because of the theme of the Lion King. And if you think like Sahara and like woods and forest, and so I didn't think that, the bunched up thread of how it did it looked horrible. So again, it only did it twice, and I'll call out the other place it did it. So this one, I started off the first signature with a coloring page, and this side is not colored, so you can continue to color it. And it is like a thick cardstock, so it's not a thin. And on this side, it was a page that I had already colored, and there's a meerkat and a meerkat baby. So I thought it went well. We have coffee dyed paper. This is tea dyed. Sorry, this is tea dyed paper. I did around the corners of all the pages. Again, I thought that went well with the cover because the cover itself was rounded, so I just kind of kept that theme going. We have vintage dictionary pages, and we have vintage eyelet ruffle trim sewn on. Here's the other spot where it did it, when I was sewing on so again, this side, no problem. It was the bottom for some reason, but it was picking up the thread. I don't know but it stopped doing it. So thank goodness. I did change the thread, the bobbin thread. Maybe that's what the issue was, but I'm not sure exactly why it was doing what it was doing. So anyways, again, I didn't think that was a deal breaker. I think it still goes nice with the cohesiveness of the design that I went with. I hope. This is one of my pocket envelopes, the top loader. I added a little sticker here. I cannot remember his name to save my life. I do not know why I can't remember his name, but. And then on this one, I just added, actually I attached 2 stickers on top of each other. So you have the two images, the two stickers, and then I stamped some grass with a rock and florals, and then I colored with my colored pencil and sewed all the way around. This is a food container. You guys all know that I like recycling food containers and junk mailer envelopes. Lots of stickers in here because, again, I like using stickers. This was I think this was a food dyed paper, reproduction invoice. This is one of those little, I think they're like storage container tags that you can put on there, and then you can put something to say, okay, in this bucket or in this storage container there is. So it's just like it's like that hard plastic. I don't even know what they're called. Vinyl, maybe like a vinyl, clear plastic. I made it into a pocket. I altered this just slightly with, you know, a sticker and then a paper tab, and then here is one that's not altered at all. You can do what you would like with it. This is a page from a book, a floral book or plant book, and this is a piece of a vintage hanky that I used in another journal, and I just had pieces left, so I made just a little fabric tab. This is from another floral or plant book, I should say, and on here I did a corner tuck using cardstock, thick cardstock. I did some stamping here. I added this sticker, and then I added the bee and did sew around. This is another cut from a fussy cut from a Lion King book. And again, I used a master board as my base, and then I covered it. This was avocado dyed paper, and it's sewn all the way around. So a nice size journaling card. Tea dye paper, and again, I've mentioned this a million times. I'm sorry if you listen to my videos and you're like, okay, we get it, Paula, you have a pan that I just like to, for those that maybe have not known or seen, but I have a pan, and for some reason every now and then the pan will, when it's drying the papers, it, like, you know, defines the little bumps and stuff that's on the pan. So you know, I'm glad I opened this up because I forgot to glue this guy down. So this is a fussy cut from a book, and I just thought it would be nice to glue him down here. Yeah. Okay, we're going to do that. So we'll glue him down. This is avocado dyed music sheet. This is the middle of the first signature, and it's a page from one of the Lion King books that I was able to, again, acquire. I've acquired many books throughout the year, and so I'm glad I was able to finally make these, because as I was cleaning out my craft room, I was told that I can't buy any more books. And I don't blame him, because I do have way too many little golden books. These aren't even golden books. These are just regular books. I don't have many of those. The golden books are out of control. Okay, so here is obviously the other side of the music sheet. It's avocado dyed. It's vintage. It is vintage music. And this is a vintage lace. And on this one, I just thought I'd do something fun. And I used some book pages to make little, like the little envelopes. They're small, you know. And then I added the little sticker of Timon and Pumbaa on here. And then inside of it is just a little booklet. So it's a little index card that I folded, and it is this is coffee dyed. And then I just added a few pages, blank pages, for you to have fun. And so I had Simba here, and this one, and then on this one is Nala. Same concept. So I just thought that they were cute. So extra little journaling. This is just a little belly band. This was the cutout from the coloring page from the first page of the signature, and I made it into a belly band. And again, this was from one of the books. I liked how this image looked, and I kind of obviously just, you know, cut it to size to what I needed for this, and then backed it with a manila folder and sewed all the way around. Lots of stickers. Here's the mean uncle scar. Here's another of Simba as he's growing up, maybe his teenage years, maybe, you know, his late teens, early 20s. Lots of room in here, as you guys know, right? I leave a lot of room in my journals. This is the last page of the first signature. First page of the second signature is a lightweight, single-sided cardstock. I like the color. There was something about the color, and actually more so the design of this, that I thought just went really well. And then I just added this sticker here when he was born, you know, at the top of the rock, if you've seen the movie. This is just some vintage ephemera. I'm sorry, not all vintage ephemera. This is reproduction. They're just little pieces of reproduction. And then this is vintage Yahtzee and a vintage flashcard. Just thought could have some fun with that stuff. There's a sticker here, and I added a little bee stamp right here. I just thought that this was cool. Like if you see their faces, they're kind of looking up, you know, oh my God, is that a bee coming at us? No, you're good. Okay, it's fine. This is a Mother Goose, a page from a Mother Goose nursery rhyme book. And then these were curtains, vintage curtains. It's vintage fabric that were made into curtains by someone, not me. And then I just made it into a ruffle. I just thought it went well there. More stickers. And then this paper was not dyed. This was regular, but I think that there was some bleeding from other papers that it was next to. I got it from the recycle reuse craft store that I go to. So I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, okay. So here on this one, it had done, so there was 3 pages where it did the whole funky sewing thing. But on this one, I just added some very thin vintage trim that I had. And this is a vintage dictionary page, but a different one than like one of the ones that we saw earlier. And on this one, I just added a layer of the white from a napkin on both sides, so that you can do some mixed media if you want, or writing. It gives you like a rough texture if you can hear it, you know. Anyhow, this is vintage lace as well. It's actually the same one as this, but what I did was I took my Tim Holtz like Distress and just, you know, added a little bit of color to it so it looks like it's more beige or brown. This is just burlap. I thought it looked really cool, so I glued it on there, and then I added him right here. He's a baby with a little butterfly in his nose. I thought it went well. This is a French dictionary page. Again, lots of room in here. Here's another one of my mailer pockets, and this is a side loading one, and it just the Lion King sticker here, vintage map scrap right here. I just thought it went well together. And then Timon and Pumbaa, I did some stamping and then sewed all the way around. This is on a food container. And I love how, you know, this one I was able to actually center so that you can see it nicely. This paper was food dyed. This music sheet was food dyed. It is vintage, but it was food dyed. Middle of the second signature, again, it's a page from one of the Lion King books that I was able to get my hands on. I was only able to get my hands on one. So trying to make 2 journals with one book, I was like, oh my goodness. And I wanted to have some cutouts and stuff. It was a good time. Here's more of that eyelet lace, vintage lace. It is sewn in. This, the French dictionary page here, I just added a little bit of lace that I had. And then this sticker, I just thought it looked so cute there. So just, you can add something here on this side. Coffee filter sewn right here. I did stamp on the coffee filter before I kind of sewed it in, and it makes 2 pockets. So you have 1 pocket on this side and then 1 pocket on that side. And I do have a paper clip just because, you know, sometimes the coffee filters aren't, like, they're thin, right? So if you have something that's thicker, and this is just one of my master boards. So one of the master boards that I made. And again, I just did a little bit of stamping and added scar right there. I thought, and then sewed all the way around, added some lined paper that had been dyed in the back for writing. Because my master boards, the base of my master boards are book pages. So we take books apart, and, you know, that's what I do with some of my book pages. So, and then on this side, again, it was an image from one of the books that I was able to actually cut out fully. And it's the same concept. So, and like I said, it's in here with paperclip because, you know, they're thick. And it just allows it to stay in place. And now we're rounding the end of the second signature. Again, this is the Mother Goose book. Dyed paper. This one got a little bit grungier, so it is what it is. Just a little sticker here. And just so you know, some of my stickers are glossy, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever. And some are matted, so it is what it is. This is just ephemera, vintage ephemera. This is a letter, envelope and letter. The letter is in it still from 1948. This is a tally card, or a tally players, like, yeah, card This is a Cole Brothers Circus ticket, and this is just an image. Are these onions? They might be onions. I don't know. I just thought it went pretty cool. I had it upside down earlier. So I add the vintage ephemera just so that you can, have fun yourself or use it somewhere else. It's up to you. And then the last is, again, an image from the book that I put onto, I think this was my master board. I just covered the whole master board, obviously, and then added the tea-dyed paper on the back and sewed all the way around. So, and that's it for the first Lion King VHS cover journal that I made. Again, these are sold. If you have any requests, though, for any VHS journals, if I can get my hands on the VHS itself cover, then I'm happy to, try to work on a journal if I can obviously find the things that I need to find to keep it in theme. I like keeping it in theme. If you don't care that it's not a theme, then, also just, send me a message. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, as PSEN Creations. So let's go to the second one. Like I said, the second one will go a little quicker. So the second one, it's the same cover. It's the same movie. I do have another Lion King one that's something like Simba's something or another. I can't remember. The tie is slightly different. So this is a different tie, but it did come from the same little rug that I took apart. And this one was 9. Again, I'm just keeping this here because that's how I sold them. And I just want to make sure that I remember that I'm packing these for the right and correct person that purchased them. 2 signatures. Here's the back in case you wanted to see that, it is the movie itself cover. Like I mentioned from the other one when I did the other flip through, that this is a different felt. So this is slightly lighter. This is also a different vintage trim that I used. This is white versus cream, and it's slightly thicker as well, but it does cover both the front and the back, so you have pockets in both. Again, master board made into a journaling card, had some stickers there. We started this one off with some vintage music sheet and one of my mailers. Again, this is an image from one of the books. Did some stamping and some coloring down here, sewed all the way around. It is a food container. And we do have some different pages. This is a ledger, but not vintage ledger. I love his face. Here was a belly band that I made using wallpaper. And the wallpaper is actually the first signature of the first page of the second signature. So you'll see it in a bit. But it was like jungly, so I thought it went well. Deserty, jungly. There's an animal on it. I just couldn't make out what the animal is exactly. So you'll see. But this is an image from the book, and it's on manila folder. The pages that I use, they're colored pages, they're vintage music, they're vintage pages from plant books and tea-dyed paper, avocado dyed paper, scrapbook paper. So it's a plethora of different papers. This is the vintage eyelet trim, reproduction invoice. On this vintage dictionary page, what I did was I did do the white of the napkin, but I also did like another piece of green napkin that I had with florals, leaves and stuff. I thought it went well. And then obviously a sticker here, and I did sew around this one. This is just one of those notepads that you get, sometimes in the mail when you donate money to a charity, you get those. This is St. Jude's. The giraffe and the zebra and stuff, thought it went well. So you can add a little bit of writing there if you'd like, or you can just cover it, when the person that gets it, they can just cover it. Same with this right here, right? This was this image here from the book, but this is really nothing. So you can either leave it as is, or you can cover it with something. This is a single-sided cardstock. I like the pattern of this one, and the colors I think went well too. So especially with like the blues and the greens and stuff. So I made it into a pocket. This is the middle of the first signature. This is some vintage ephemera that is just added here. In this pocket. And then this one here is a cutout from the book, one of the books that I used. He's getting dinner ready. And this is on manila folder, sewn all the way around. Again, vintage. This is a different vintage trim that I just added on here. And this was a cream color, so I didn't like do any dyes or I didn't do like distressed oxide or anything on it. It's just, that's the color of it naturally. And again, this is the other side where I just had a cutout. I think it looked nice. I think it went a little big. You know, you do have room here to add something if you'd like, and the texture if you wanted to do something. Corner tuck. His face on this one just cracks me up. So I did some stamping here. I stamped a yellow bee. My theory is the way he's making his face is because the bee just stung him and now it's flying off. So I don't know, but it is sewn in there, so it should stay put. Not that when you glue it, it doesn't stay put, but you know, I like to do sewing just to make sure. And then just some vintage ephemera for you to play around with. And then the last page here, I have a little, I must have used, so I have 2 paper clips here, but I must have used, I must have had like manila folder and stuff, because I feel like I use a lot of manila folder in this one versus food containers. But this was actually a food container, or some kind of container, because it's very thin. So, I mean, it could have been a food container that's thin. But anyways, this is a cutout from one of the pages in the books. So I just added that there. And I have 2 paper clips just because it's so large and the paper clips are so small that I just added 2 little itty bitty paper clips. The second signature is here, and this is what I was talking about, the wallpaper. So see, it's kind of like, you know, Sahara, jungly, like the plains. I don't know, I think it went well. And I made this into a pocket. So this is wallpaper, vintage wallpaper. So this is a hanky. It was just green, but it was very thin. So I backed it with some cardstock and then sewed around and then glued it down. Did I sew it? Yeah, I did sew it as well onto the thing. And this is just a journaling card, food container that I made. This is from a birds and I think birds, butterflies, insect book that I had. So I thought it went well. And here I just used some book pages and stacked them up, and then just added some additional stamping and a sticker here to make a corner tuck. And this is just a copy dyed guest check and a vintage postcard. Again, I just thought the plains, this is Utah. No. Ulvik Hardinger. Ulvik Hardinger, Norge. I'm not sure where that's from. Wow, look at that. There's not even anything on the back, like a postcard type of situation. So this is a faux mulberry paper. So I made this mulberry paper, floral mulberry paper, but I made it. So it's not the real deal. They are dried flowers in here. And the layers are the white of a napkin. So National Geographic's vintage map. It's the map itself it's huge. So these are obviously just pieces of it. And beautiful, nice little sticker of the family right there. I thought it looked nice. So this was one of the Mother Goose nursery rhyme books, and I used laminating sheet and sewed the laminating sheet around to make a pocket on this side and the other side. So this is just a sticker, and this is just a vintage punch card that you can alter. I just added it to the pocket so that you can alter it, and then obviously the sticker is there. So again, Mother Goose nursery rhyme book page. This was a vintage dictionary page, and I just took the cutouts. I like the tree, so the way I was able to cut it out. And then there was another image over here. I just cut this out and just did a little bit of stamping of grass there. I just liked how it looked. Here's a belly band that I made using that same from the previous book, the coloring book. I had, you know, extra piece of it, and I made a belly band of that. And then again, manila folder, backed image from the book, sewn all the way around. Middle of the second signature. The book that I had was The Lion King, The Pal Patrol. Pal Patrol. I loved it. Here's some more vintage lace that's been sewn on. Stickers of the Friends. Here's the other side of the Mother Goose nursery rhyme book. And then, of course, on this side is the other side where the clear pocket is there. And this is another image page from the book with the paper tab. I'm saying a cardstock tab. And it's sewn all the way around. It's a little tight, but it does go in perfectly. Okay. And we are rounding the end. We are rounding the end. Here's more of that mulberry paper, and I just did some stamping again. Beautiful butterfly from that book. And then this is the other side of the, what is it called? Wallpaper. Look at the little caterpillar. You see that? Again, you know, if the person that gets it doesn't like these images, they can cover it however they'd like to. I like to obviously decorate to a certain extent, but I also like to leave it where they can do some decorating themselves. And again, the wallpaper, you know, with the animal. So I'm not sure what that animal is. Maybe it's a tiger. I don't know. And then the very last pocket, which is the back cover, you have an envelope from 1943, I think. But it's just the envelope. Oh no, 1899, guys. August 21st, 1899. So it's just an envelope, right? But you can put something in it, or you can, you know, put it down and make it a pocket. You can do a lot of things with it. That's pretty cool. This is a postcard, and these are parrots. This is Sanctuary at some Queen Islands Beach. And then you have a vintage, or you have a guest check. This might not be vintage, but you have a guest check that's been copy dyed. And then you also have the receipt from a traveling salesman, a receipt of what he did on Sunday. He did 0 hours because obviously he doesn't work on Sundays. So, but he still has to log his time. My assumption. I don't know. I think these were from the 60s. So that's it. That's the second one of the Lion King VHS cover journals that I made. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you liked something specifically, or want to know how I did something specifically, also just let me know in the comments. I will be doing a video where I'm making the cover of one for the next. I did get another order to make, not a Lion King one, but another movie one. So it's still a VHS cover. So I did get a request to do that, and I will be making a video to show the process I follow. But all right, thanks guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys on my next video. Bye.